What's up everyone, and welcome back to the EvolvedJeepin channel. Today's video is actually a continuation of the Rearview Mirror Dashcam System mini-series that we did a couple months ago. And the reason is because Azdome just sent me their PG17 system. So today we're going to be comparing this to the other 4 systems that we've done in this mini-series. To recap what those other systems were that we've already created videos on, the first one was the Wolfbox G840s. The second was the Lindu LD05. Then we had the Arfa E22. And then we wrapped it up with the PG19X. What's interesting about the PG17 is it is actually the more affordable option compared to the PG19X. So guys, I need to pause the video right here to clarify that the unit I'm going to be showing you in this video is not the affordable version. It wasn't until I was editing this video that I discovered that Azdome actually has 2 PG17 systems. One is the standard version and the other is the 4K version. The unit that we're going to be reviewing and taking a look at in this video is the 4K version. So it is the more expensive unit than the PG19X. So throughout this video, there are going to be situations where I might say that this item is priced cheaper than the PG19X and closer to the price of the Wolfbox G840s. Well, that is actually not the case. This item is more expensive and probably closer to the Wolfbox 900 series. So just keep that in mind throughout this video because I made a slight mistake that I didn't know while filming and discovered while editing. So it's going to be interesting to compare these units together to see what this one does and doesn't have compared to that one. So guys, as we've done on the other videos, a part of this mini-series, the first thing we're going to do is unbox this unit to see what it comes with. Then we're going to go ahead and install it. And during the installation, I'm actually going to show you 2 options to install this unit. One is going to be the non-permanent option, and then the second is going to be the more permanent option, where you're actually going to go ahead and remove your stock mirror altogether. Once we've got this unit installed, we'll then take a look at its features and functionalities to see what it does have and what it does include. After we've done that, we're then going to go ahead and compare the image quality of both the front and the rear cameras. And then we'll wrap this video by giving my overall thoughts and opinions of this. And guys, throughout this entire video, what we're going to be doing is comparing this unit directly to the Wolfbox G840s and the Azdome PG19X. The reason is because those 2 units are rated as my number 1 or number 2. They're basically both the top options that I currently recommend. Actually currently running the PG19X in my vehicle, and the Wolfbox is sitting at home. The reason I'm really running the Azdome PG19X versus the Wolfbox is because the PG19X is a square-shaped mirror versus the Wolfbox, which has a very similar look to this one. So it's going to be really interesting to compare the 3 of them together throughout this entire process to see how the PG19 stacks up to those 2 units. So guys, what we're going to go ahead and do is dive into the first part, which is going to be the unboxing of the PG17. So let's take a look at the packaging for the PG17. Overall, really impressive box, nice clean white box. It has a gloss image on the front of the actual unit, 4K Ultra HD, their logo, streaming media mirror, dashcam system. On the side here, we've got some little features listed out, 4K 1080p cameras, built-in Wi-Fi, GPS tracking, touchscreen, loop recording, G-sensor, 12-inch touchscreen, and then 24-hour monitoring. On the side, just logo there. There's tagline, enjoy your smart driving. On the back, just basic, manufacturing requirements and details. So now let's take a look at the actual mirror itself. Let's get this open. So as usual, packaged the exact same way all of these brands seem to package this. Put the mirror as display so you get this nice opening or unboxing experience. Has a foam shell to keep it protected. The mirror itself, we'll just pop it out like we always do. Fold those back, Slide that off. The mirror looks pretty good. High quality, definitely comparable to the Wolfbox and the PG19X. Yeah, the shape, really nice. I actually kind of like this one because it's less round than the Wolfbox, but kind of curved off, a little sharp. So I'm actually impressed with this one. You know, on the front, we have our screen protector that we're going to peel off when we go to install this. On the back, we've got our 2 mounting points. So this is where the straps will go. We've got our protective rubber to protect against the mirror itself. This does look like it's assembled the same way it was on the Azdome. So most likely we're going to peel these covers off, undo the 2 screws, and then this entire piece is going to come off, and then we'll be able to attach it to the bracket. So that's going to be nice to be able to reuse the existing bracket that we're using on the Azdome. Looks like we have a reset button there. We have some ventilation here. We have 2 mics on the back side there. I'm assuming these are also for mic catching noise as well. Power button on the bottom. On this side, we actually have some type of microphone or speaker. So that's interesting because a dedicated speaker is interesting. A lot of the other units didn't have an actual speaker. So maybe the sound quality of the voice or whatever comes out of this will sound a lot better. This side, we've got our adjustable front-facing camera with a sticker that we're going to remove. On the top, we've got our GPS port, our micro SD port, our rear view camera port, and our USB-C power supply. Yeah, overall, pretty impressive. I do like the sharpness yet curvability of the mirror. It's not as round as the Wolfbox, and it's not as square as the other one. This is actually going to play a role, and I'll kind of talk about that in the end of the video, why I think this might be a good solution. So now let's take a look at what else comes in this. We have our 12 volt DC plug adapter with, looks like, yep, with a USB port on it. That's really nice that it has that option. So it means not only are you getting a power support for the mirror, but you're also getting a USB port that you can use for charging other devices. We then have a GPS antenna receiver with adhesive on the bottom. So we're just going to run that on the dash. We've then got our rear view camera here. Looks like the traditional rear view camera that came with the PG19X. So it doesn't look any different than that. Looks to be the same quality, 1080p. Yeah, it looks the same. You got your cord, you know, your extra cord with your connection point there. So that's pretty standard. We've then got our 2 rubber attaching parts, so 2 different sizes. This is to attach the mirror or the screen to the mirror. So you got those 2 sizes. We've then got our pry tool and our cable clips or holders that you can attach to your vehicle. So that's nice. I now have a million of these throughout all the vehicles I've used. We've got our microfiber cleaning cloth to, clean the screen off once we've pulled off the protective cover. We've then got our wipes. We got dry and wet, and this will be used with to apply the anti-glare screen protector. So it's nice that it did come with this. So that's going to be the first step of the installation. It's going to be install this, and hopefully we'll be able to do it without getting any dirt on it this time. So, but you never know. Probably most likely I'll fail at that again. And then finally, we have our user manual, all the details on how to install it, how to use it, all those details that are useful if you've never used one of these. So now let's go ahead and do the first part of the installation, which is to install this screen protector, and then we'll get into the mounting options.
Before we get into mounting the screen, the first step is to install the anti-glare, anti-fog screen protector film. First you have to do is clean the screen and make sure there's no dust or debris or anything that can get stuck under the film. Once you've done that, you're going to peel off the backing of the film and then apply it to the screen. Once halfway, make sure to use a flat edge to press down the film to avoid any bubbles. Once that's down, you can then pull off the protective layer on the outside of the film. If you do notice more bubbles, what you can do is squeegee them to the edge of the film. Make sure to use a microfiber towel on the edge of your squeegee to avoid scratching the screen film. Once the film is secured, we can then move on to mounting the screen. For the first option, you're going to attach the rubber bands to the back of the screen. I suggest attaching them to the top mounts just to make it a little bit easier. Once that's secured, you're then going to put the screen onto the stock mirror and then secure the screen with the rubber bands, wrapping them around the back side of the mirror and attaching them to the bottom of the mounts. Once that's done, all you have to do is connect the wires. I'm not going to show you guys how to run the wires because that is going to be dependent on your vehicle and going to be dependent on which power source you're using, whether you're using the non-permanent 12-volt DC plug adapter, or if you're going to go ahead and use a hard wiring kit that you can purchase in addition to the system. After you have the mirror mounted, the last part is to install the rear-facing camera. What I've done here is actually secured it on the inside of my Jeep behind the rear window on my hardtop.
So guys, as you can see, I only showed you the one way to mount the mirror, which was the non-permanent approach, because unfortunately the bracket that I had on the back of the Azdome PG19X is slightly different than what would be needed for the PG17. So it means I actually had to go ahead and order one from Amazon. Hopefully it'll be here tomorrow. If I get a chance, I'll try and add it to this video. But if I don't, and it does end up working, what I will do is put a link below for that item so that you can purchase for yourself if you want to go ahead and do the permanent mounting option. And if you're looking for details on how to do the permanent option, all you have to do is head over to my other video, which will be a link right here, which will be for the Azdome PG19X. And you're just going to simply follow the steps I've done in there to mount the new bracket. It's very simple. All you have to do is peel off the rubber backing, then undo the 2 screws. Then those whole mounting tab solution will fall off, and then you can mount the new plate. Very straightforward. Again, just click on that link and watch that video for details on how to do that. So guys, now that we have it mounted in the non-permanent approach, what we're going to go ahead and do is fire it up and take a look at some of the features and functionality that this screen has. So guys, the first thing we have to do is set up the features and everything. So English, of course. Time, yeah, we'll just do that for now. Just leave the date. You can obviously set it however you want. Like, you know, whatever you want to do. So set that. We're going to format the card. Okay, so let's just take a look at this. So this looks very similar to the Azdome PG19. Same type of buttons down here. You've got your reverse button to change your views. You can go to the dual, the front view. On the back, you can adjust the camera angle here. So you can move that around without moving the camera. So you can set that up. So that's the first thing. Then you have this part, which is where you capture content. You can lock it, so you can lock the file so that you can't erase it. So let's unlock that. Here you can turn on and off the recording. So right now it's off. If I click it again, it turns on. You can see the little number counting right there and the red dot flashing. We have our microphone on and off, so we can turn that on and off. We have our area where we can see all the format. Again, very similar to the Azdome PG19X and the Arfa E22. So very similar to that. So if you click on the normal videos, we can see the videos we have here. This is what we just captured. Click it yet. Turns on. So one thing that's very interesting is the speaker is a lot better than the other ones. So that's cool. So you have that. You have your emergency videos, front video photos and stuff. So that's a photo we just took. And again, you can delete it as well. So we delete that. Yeah, so pretty cool there. We do have this symbol here. I'm not sure what that is. On this screen, we have our signal informations. Our Wi-Fi is turned off. Our GPS is working. Recording is working or something. Parking monitor is not working. Formatted card is in. We have our time, our date, our day, and then their logo. Again, don't know what that is. We do have the GPS thing right here, so that's really nice. Brightness, again, similar to the PG19. You scroll it to move up. To change the camera angles, oh, here we can change the volume. So that changes the volume of the screen. That's interesting. So up and down. To change the camera angle, yeah, you just press up and down on here. So if we adjust this, you can press up and down. If we switch to the back photo, you can just go up and down as well. In the settings, let's see what there are. Nope, let's click that again. So in the settings, we have part impact detection. So we're going to turn that on. We have our time-lapse recording. So that's 12 hours. Let's set it to 24. Video stamp, we're actually going to turn that off. That's that little video stamp that turns off. So let's turn that off. Boot ringtone, we are going to turn that on. So it would make no noise when it turns itself on. Time-lapse parking mode, yes, we want that on. G sensor, we put that on low just because of the Jeep. It's a little bouncy. We don't want that heavy. Screensaver, we definitely don't want a screensaver. Tones, so we can put that to low. We can also put it to off. Let's just leave it at low. We also have date and time, so we can go reset that. Data time and format, we can pick the format. We have fatigue driving reminder. So this is something that just tells you like when you've been driving a long time to like take a break. I gotta leave that off. Frequency, we have options between 50 and 60. Leave it on 60. Parking guidelines, we are going to turn those off because we don't even have the camera wired up for reverse anyways. But that is an option that you can do. You can set it up so that it will put the reverse lines up for when you go into reverse. Format reminder every 30 days. That's pretty consistent. Rear view mirror, so that's the basically flipping it around. We'll have to check to see if that needs. Also flipping it, you can flip it if your camera's mounted upside down. You can flip it. We don't need to because it looked fine. Boot screen, we want it to go to the rear camera. And Wi-Fi mode, whether we want it off or on, so we're gonna turn that on. And then date, time, and logo display, we are going to turn that off. So that was that logo on the side. Then when you go to video settings, you have your resolution. So you can pick between 4K and 1080p, 2K and 1080p, or 1080p and 1080p. Obviously, we're going to leave it on 4K. Then we can select this option, which is WDR, which is great for nighttime. We are definitely turning that on. So we want that. And then loop recording, that's how long it will record. So we're actually going to turn this into 2-minute sections instead of 1 minute. Then in the system settings, language, speech switch. So that's interesting. I'm going to leave that on and we're going to go check that out because I think that's something that the other screens did not have. Time zone select, so we'll leave that. Format card. We have voice commands. So these are some of the voice commands. We can turn on Wi-Fi, take photos. We can open recording, show front camera, open screen, turn Wi-Fi off, lock screen, show rear. So we're going to try some of those voice commands because I think the screen has that unit. So speed, miles per hour, GPS info, format version, and QR code. So yeah, very similar to the PG19X. Only difference is this speech monitor symbol here. So let's give it a shot. Let's give the voice recognition a shot. So I'd say show front camera.
Front camera displayed.
So that's really it. Show both cameras. So it doesn't do that because that wasn't an option. I don't know why I asked that. Stop recording. Okay, let's go back. I kind of forgot what the cameras were. Systems, voice commands. So we had turn on Wi-Fi, turn off Wi-Fi, take picture, interesting, lock video, open recording, turn off recording, turn off display, open video. Okay, let's try some of those. Show rear camera.
Rear camera displayed.
That's interesting. Show front camera.
Camera display.
Take photo. Take picture. Take picture. So it took the picture right up there. That's pretty cool. Turn off display. Turn on display.
Turned on.
open display. I don't know how to turn that one on. Back on after. Let's just try hitting the camera button. That works. So interesting added feature. You know, we can turn off Wi-Fi. That's turning off the Wi-Fi or starting the Wi-Fi. Turn off Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi didn't open.
So now it's turned off. Yeah, really cool. What we're going to do now is let's just simply, actually, let's turn on Wi-Fi. While the Wi-Fi is turning on, what we're actually going to do is check out the app for this and show you guys what's available in the app now.
The first thing you have to do is connect your mobile device to the Wi-Fi for the system. The default password is 12345678. All this information is actually listed in the system settings of the mirror itself. Once connected, you should see the device and be able to click on it. Once you click on it, it's going to take you to this screen. It will eventually load a live stream of one of the cameras. If you stop the recording, you can actually then click on the snapshot button and take a photo of both the front and the rear at the same time. To see the image you have captured, you click on the Dashcam album section. And in this section, you can see all the videos, events, and photos you captured. From here, you can click on individual photos and can either delete them or download them to your mobile device. Then, when you return to the live stream, there are a few other options we can choose from. You can click on video resolution and choose between 4K, 2K, and 1080p. You can also click and choose whether to mute the audio recording. Then there's also an option to switch cameras. This mode has seemed to be a little bit glitchy. I noticed this on the PG19X. When you click it, sometimes it doesn't want to switch, even though the F at the top corner switches to R. The image itself doesn't change. So it's kind of got a glitch there. Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing. Then, of course, there's a whole settings section that you can check for where you can see majority of the same settings or features that are available inside the screen itself. You can see here when we return to the live video, it actually went to the rear camera. But then when I tried to hit the switch camera again, it didn't switch the image. So still a little glitch. I'm not sure if this is just because of Wi-Fi connection or whatnot, but still a little glitch that exists in the system.
So guys, now that I've shown you the features and functionality of the screen itself and the features and functionality of the app, I can now overall say that this system is pretty comparable to the Azdome PG19X. The only one difference that I noticed that's available in this system and not in the PG19X is the ability for voice commands. This is actually kind of surprising because you would think that your more expensive unit would have all the same features as the lower price point item, but in this case, that's just not the case. So it's kind of weird, but the voice command is actually kind of cool feature because without having to touch the screen, you can actually make some changes to the screen. For example, I can switch to the front screen by simply saying, show front camera. So that's really cool, especially because with the Azdome system, what you have to do is actually click the screen, then click a button to change the screen. So while you're driving, that's actually kind of difficult. There's times where I've actually experienced that. So hitting those two buttons in a row is actually kind of difficult. So having the ability to simply switch it with your voice really makes it a lot easier. One thing I want to do is compare these systems, both the Azdome systems to the Wolfbox. The main difference between the Azdome systems and the Wolfbox system is that the Wolfbox system is a little bit more modernized. So what they've done is they have some more graphics in their systems area. So their graphics are a little bit more app-based. So you have little symbols to represent it. And then when you're on the main screen, to switch their cameras and to do it on the fly, all you have to do is swipe left to right. But with this one, all it does is change the brightness. So that's one thing. Also, to adjust the angle of their camera, all you have to do on the Wolfbox is simply scroll up and down, but on this system, all it does is change the volume. For this one, you actually have to press up and down arrows to change. So it's almost a little more analog, this one, and the way that Azdome builds their systems, where the Wolfbox is just a little bit more fancy. In the end, they both seem to function the same, just different ways of doing it. One thing to mention about the Wolfbox, it does not have voice command, so that is one unique thing that this one has to offer. So now that I've shown you guys the features and functionality of these systems, what we're going to do now is go take a look at the image resolution and quality of the front and rear cameras. So what I'm going to do is go for a drive while the sun is still out and capture some content. Then I'm actually going to wait till the sun goes down and go for a drive and capture the same content. Once I've got all that, we'll take a look at, put that in the video. We'll maybe compare it to either the Wolfbox or the PG19X to see how it compares. And then once I've had the opportunity to take a look at that, what I'll do is wrap this video up and give my overall thoughts and opinions. Most likely, because I need to wait till dark, I'll most likely end up wrapping this up tomorrow morning. So guys, let's go capture that content and I'll see you guys in the morning. And we're back. Yesterday, we left off by going ahead and capturing some content using the Azdome PG17. We captured content in both the daytime and the nighttime. And based on the videos that we just showed you, overall, the image quality of the system is definitely up there with the Azdome PG19X and the Wolfbox G840s. All three of the items have front-facing 4K cameras that are able to capture clear and crisp images in both the daytime and the nighttime. Unfortunately, all three of the units also have 1080p rear cameras that all seem to work okay during the day, but then at night they tend to struggle. It seems that all three of the cameras work okay in city environments where there's a little bit of light throughout the driving, but then as soon as you get into a dark environment, all three of the cameras seem to struggle and have some headlight flaring that occurs when headlights are directed straight at the camera. This seems to be a limitation of a lot of these systems. I have not come across a system that is able to handle it. The only thing I've done is I found an upgraded Wolfbox camera that you can use on the rear that seems to reduce the glare just a little bit. It doesn't solve it, but it does reduce it. I'm not sure why they have not figured out how to make this work and why they have not prioritized the rear cameras. You would think with a rear view camera, the rear camera would be the main priority, but unfortunately they prioritized the front facing cameras and put them at 4K, and the rear cameras are only 1080p's. Maybe this is just a limitation of the technology, you know, the fact that you're having the main power source up here and that rear camera isn't powered. Maybe there's something to do with that. I'm not quite sure. But hopefully in the near future, they'll figure it out, or at least hopefully I'll find a camera that will work with this system or whatever system I end up using. Now that I've shown you guys what this system comes with, how to install it, how it works, and how it performs, it is now time for me to give you guys my overall thoughts and opinions about this system and let you guys know which system I'm going to be keeping in my Jeep. The 17 or the Azdome PG17 is overall a really good system, and I think it's right up there with the Azdome PG19X and the Wolfbox G840s. There's a couple things I really like about this system. The first one is the voice command option. I think it's really cool that you have the ability to say a command and the screen will listen. I really think that's cool, and I think that's a really good feature for this type of device, especially because when you're driving, sometimes you want to take your hand off to switch the camera. So, being able to just simply say it and have it do it definitely makes it a really helpful tool. Do I think a lot of the other systems in the future are going to end up having this feature? Most likely. I think a lot of them already have the technology in them. It's just whether they're going to be able to do it in the future or whether they want to have the system be able to do it is a whole nother question. The next thing I really like about this system is the front-facing camera. I find that this system has a little bit more adjustability in it. You actually have the ability to aim it in the direction you want, where with the Azdome PG19X, the camera just doesn't have the same amount of adjustability on it. And because the camera has this large bezel on it, I actually find the camera on the PG19X is a lot more visible, where with this PG17, the camera is a little bit more hidden and it's a little bit more concealed. So you don't really know that there's a front-facing dash cam on it, where with the PG19X, you definitely can see that there's a camera. So that's one little thing. I like the idea of the concealed camera versus the more visible one. But that's, again, something very, very minor. One thing that this system kind of lacks compared to the Wolfbox is the user face. The user face on the Azdome systems, both the PG17 and the PG19X, are a little bit more, I want to say, analog. So they're a little bit smoother or a little bit old school, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. The Wolfbox, it uses swiping features. It has apps or images or icons for the settings, but those are all just like extra things. And to be honest, guys, I've had a digital rear view mirror system in my Jeep for about a year now, and I don't really change it. I tend to just keep it on the rear camera. The only time I end up playing with it or setting it up is when I'm about to do a trail or, want to capture some content. Other than that, it tends to stay in one location. So the fact that the operation system of the Azdome is a little bit more basic isn't a bad thing. It's fine. It works just as well as the Wolfbox. The Wolfbox just looks a little fancier. So guys, besides that, overall, definitely think this is a great item and I would recommend it. But for myself, I'm actually going to go ahead and reinstall my Azdome PG19X. The main reason is because this one is square and this one is shaped. I don't really like the shaped one. I like the square one, and that's mainly due to the fact that it ties in better with my Tesla style screen that I have in the Jeep, where this one with the curvature, it's just not really for me. I really do like the square version. One more thing I'm going to be doing with this system that is very similar to, or I would do with even if I kept the PG17, is that I'm going to be using the Wolfbox upgraded camera. And that is mainly due to the fact that the Wolfbox upgraded camera just helps a little bit more with the headlight flare. Again, it doesn't solve it. It doesn't completely remove it. It still does exist, but it makes the image a little bit more visible. One thing I forgot to mention about the Wolfbox rear view camera is that even though it does seem to work a little bit better during at night with headlight flare, I did notice that the image quality of that camera goes down a little bit compared to the camera that came with this. It's a minor thing, but it is definitely something to consider. You are going to lose a little bit of image quality while you're driving around the city when it's a little bit lighter, but you're going to gain that visibility in dark situations. There is one camera that I do want to try out. It is a Sony camera, but unfortunately it is $150, and I haven't gone ahead and justified the need to purchase that to test it out, but maybe in the near future I might go ahead and purchase it and give it a shot, because I've heard really good things about this camera, and it might be the solution that I'm looking for, and it might be the addition that I need to add to any of these systems. At this point, guys, I don't really have much more to say about this system. I think the PG17 is definitely worth it, especially for its price point. If you want to purchase this for yourself, what I'm going to do is put a link below that will take you to the Amazon page and you can purchase for yourself. One thing I did mention is I was hoping that the bracket I had purchased was going to work with this, but unfortunately when it arrived this morning, it did not work. So I never did find a bracket that would work for this system. There probably is one out there, but I didn't have a chance to find one before doing this video. So I don't have a link for that. Yeah, besides that, great system. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to post them below. As usual, guys, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Keep evolving, and we'll see you guys on the next video.